Hello, Jadar. This is my feedback to your evidence paragraph from last week. Now, let me just say you did not have a model to work with, so this was your first attempt. It's understandable it will be a little bit rough. Let me still see what we can do now here, looking at the details. Hopefully in today's small group tutorial, it was a little bit more clear what you need to do. But let me just still try and take this opportunity to give you a little bit on this paragraph. Now, first of all, it's very important to identify the idea correctly. When you say that the author claims that women are not treated fairly in today's environment, he's not saying that. I mean, he's saying it in a different sense. He's saying that women are not given the opportunity if they want to become mothers, for instance, once they find a job, they're not given the opportunity to become mothers, and that's not fair. But that was a separate argument. Overall, the way you're saying it here, women are not treated fairly in today's environment, that's not true. He's not claiming that. And then the evidence you give here. So what I would suggest, first of all, make sure the supporting idea, make sure you really understand the supporting idea, and also that you phrase it very clearly, right? Then you go into the evidence that he uses, and then you cite this article that he was referring to. And the article, basically what it's saying is, it's not proving that women are not treated fairly. The article actually proves the opposite. The article is trying to prove that women are preferred over men consistently. So this evidence is showing the opposite of what your first sentence is saying, right? So make sure that there is a clear match between what the evidence is supporting and the supporting idea. Do you see what I'm saying? There is a clear match between evidence and supporting idea. So he showed this article, which was basically an experiment, and what the experiment was, the speaker says the experiment proves that women are consistently preferred over men, and for him that meant reverse discrimination. He's saying, look, as a guy it is very difficult, even if you are very good at tech, if you are surrounded by other candidates and most of them are women, you have no chance. That's what he's saying. Women are consistently preferred. So for instance, as faculty, if you're a woman, you have a much higher chance of getting a job than a man of the same abilities. That's what he's saying the article is proving. So do you see how there is a bit of a mismatch here? But you have chosen the evidence itself is very interesting. So if your supporting idea matches the evidence used in support of it, then you can start writing the paragraph. Now let's go into whether it's representative. You're saying it is representative. This article focuses on women and studies in areas where gender differences are most obvious, which is STEM. Okay. Therefore, the discussion is very typical of women in the workplace. Fine, you can say that, no problem. But if you dig a little bit deeper, you can discuss the issue of representativeness in terms of, okay, so women, they are consistently preferred over men, right? That's what he's saying. So I think we should forget about your first sentence. Let's just say that your first sentence was, the author claims that there is reverse discrimination and women are consistently preferred over men. Now, let's imagine that that's what the supporting idea is, and your paragraph started with that. Now, then now let's see, is that representative? You see how your comments would be completely different now if you start with the correct supporting idea. And actually, you can say that the evidence is not representative. Why? Because if you actually go to this article, you will see that the conclusion that the article itself reaches is very different than the speaker's conclusion. So he's using the article to reach a conclusion which the article itself does not support. So this is what you can say. So in your evidence paragraph, when you see an article, you have to first look it up. So you need to look up the article and see whether it really supports what the speaker is saying. And it turns out it doesn't. The article itself says at one point, actually, this experiment is not typical, it's not very representative. So this would be an excellent opportunity. You've chosen a really very good example of an evidence, but it would be an excellent opportunity to say that it's not representative, right? And you can do that when you actually go and trace the article. You look it up and you realize, oh, he's actually using it in the wrong way, right? Now, second, you're saying that the article aims to prove the advantages of women. That's very good, but does not reflect how bad women experience in the workplace. Okay, so it is not enough to support his claim. Yes, I think that's a good comment here. If you just rephrase it a little bit, the article supposedly proves that women are consistently preferred over men, but actually this article does not reflect all the other instances when women are not preferred over men. So you're kind of trying to say something like that. So along these lines, I think this is a good comment. You just need to kind of rephrase it a little bit, because and what I mean by that is you need to stay focused on women hiring. So we're specifically interested in hiring. When you say that the bad experience in the workplace, that's already women who are already hired. So that's broadening the focus too much. Just stay focused on the hiring process. Are women really preferred in the hiring process? So here you could rephrase that and you could say, this article does not reflect the typical hiring process in which a lot of men actually are preferred, right? You can say something like that. Okay. Finally, the article has a certain relevance because the author advocates highlighting the relationship. Okay, fine, but here you want to be a little bit more specific. The author advocates highlighting the relationship between women and the workplace. It's just a little bit vaguely stated here, and when you're discussing evidence in particular, you want to be very precise. The focus of what you're saying should be very narrow. So stay focused on hiring and just keep the focus narrow. Okay, so again here I would say rephrase. The article has a certain relevance because it does relate to the hiring process. However, and now you can continue. This experiment was talking about women who are hired only if they were preferred over men, if they were more competent than men. If they were not more competent, if they were of equal abilities to those of men. In other words, if a woman candidate, if a male and a female candidate were of equal ability, then the woman would be hired. Now, you can say there is nothing wrong with that, because what the speaker is trying to say is that even if the woman is less well qualified, she would still be hired over the man, even if he is more qualified than her. But you can say actually in this study, women were equally qualified as men. So in other words, it's not relevant. So you could say again, try to be as deep in your analysis. You will have a lot of time for the exam. So if there is an article, try and dig a little deeper into it, see whether the speaker is using it correctly. In this case, the speaker is kind of using a lot of the evidence incorrectly. So it's very easy to criticize, but you have to go a little deep. Okay? Now we'll have another round of all this. Go back to the model from week 11. There's another model coming up next week. We will do the mock, so hopefully this time, sometime next week, you should have an even better idea. Okay, I hope this is helpful to you, Jaidar. Good luck.